Excuse me. All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
No, yeah. I never get tired of that.
Oh, no, it's truly great. So, from the Daily Wire, wave of lawmakers demanding investigation into VanderBilt Pediatric Gender Clinic. So, a groundswell of lawmakers are demanding an investigation into a Nashville pediatric gender clinic after shocking videos showed a doctor calling certain transgender surgeries huge money makers, and a health law expert saying conscientious objections to the surgeries are problematic. The pediatric transgender clinic at VanderBilt University Medical Center performs gender-affirming double mastectomies on minor girls and offers puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones for minors as well, according to an expose from the Daily Wire's Matt Walsh. All hail Matt Walsh.
All hail Matt Walsh.
In one video uncovered by Walsh, a VanderBilt doctor affiliated with an adult transgender clinic, but not the pediatric one, can be seen emphasizing the dollar signs around gender surgery. It's a lot of money, quote. These surgeries make a lot of money. VUMC Clinic for Transgender Health's Dr. Shane Siebold Taylor said in one video. Taylor said that gender-affirming double mastectomies could bring in $40,000, and a female-to-male phalloplasty could bring in upwards of $100,000. Another doctor says that objecting to gender surgery for religious or other reasons has consequences. Quote, I just wanted you to take home that saying that you're not going to do something because of your religious beliefs is not without consequences, and it should not be without consequences. VanderBilt's health law expert and pediatrician, Dr. Ellen Wright Clayton. If you don't want to do this kind of work, then don't work at VanderBilt.
You know, that language is like eerily reminiscent of what we heard during COVID. Because they said, like, remember how they said, like, you know, if you don't want to get a vaccine, that's your choice. But that choice has consequences.
Yep.
Like, remember who said
that? Trudeau?
Our prime minister. He basically, like, used this language that, this is mafia language.
Yep.
Like, anybody who knows, like, who's seen a mafia movie, they know that, in walks the two agents from the mob. They walk into your little corner, like, mom and pop shop, and they're like, boy, this is a nice store. Be a shame if something were to happen, like, say, an arson, like, fire might destroy it all, or somebody might come in and, like, wreck the place. Be a shame if that happened. But, you can avoid that by paying us, like, like this ridiculous amount of money. But if you don't, there's consequences. Like, this is the kind of language of people who basically use extortion and like veiled threats to try to force you to comply. That's what this woman did.
Yeah. So VanderBilt opens its trans clinic in 2018. During a lecture that same year, Dr. Shane Taylor explained how she convinced Nashville to get into the gender transition game. She emphasized that it's a big moneymaker, especially because the surgeries require a lot of, quote, follow-ups.
Starting in January 1st of 2017, according to the Affordable Care Act, insurance carriers are mandated to cover medical expenses for trans folks. Some of our VUMC financial folks in October of 2016, started a couple years ago, put down some costs of how much money we think each patient would bring in. And this is only including top surgery. This isn't including any bottom surgery. And it's a lot of money. These surgeries make a lot of money. So female to male chest reconstruction can bring in $40,000.
She goes on. And of course, it's all about how much money they can make from these deluded, unfortunate individuals.
Poor unfortunate soul.
Yep.
By the way, do you know that transgenderism is one of the only medical conditions that is almost entirely self-diagnosed?
Yep.
Like entirely. Like anybody who questions that, they don't know how easy the process is.
Yeah.
You can literally walk into a transgender clinic or like a Planned Parenthood. All you have to do is say that, I feel like I'm a body.
And then you are that thing.
Like the best example of that, obviously, was Lauren Southern, who with almost no
documentation,
no
whatsoever.
barriers of any kind. Like, basically
just
no
went
barriers.
in and said, I want to change my gender on my official documentation.
And she just did all the required things, and she got it. that is how completely and totally irresponsible to let people diagnose themselves.
Yeah.
This is why I can't walk into a doctor's office and say, "Hey doctor, I have schizophrenia. Give me some drugs for that'll help me my schizophrenia." The doctor's gonna be like, "No, we have to
It's like
diagnose you first."
let's actually go through
Like,
consultations. and
I
do
have
this.
multiple personality disorder. I
Okay,
have
let's diagnose you.
Tourette's syndrome.
Let's diagnose you.
Let's diagnose you. Oh, I have well, I mean, depression's easy. They will give you pills for that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't require
I
diagnosis
am a
because
woman. Okay, oh, you are.
yeah, and you are, and you're not. No one's allowed to, and it's gotten to such a bad state that here in Canada we've actually made a law
Yeah.
that says you cannot tell someone that their self-diagnosis is, and this is the problem here, and I just kind of frame it with this hospital and why this is so dangerous and irresponsible. What we are doing by letting children totally unilaterally deciding for themselves that they alone get to decide what they want to do with their bodies is we are removing all of the protections that have been built over the years to protect children from any kind of thing that could that could harm them in the long run. There's a reason why children cannot consent to having alcohol. There's a reason they can't smoke.
They can't vote.
They can't vote. There's a reason why you can't. A child cannot get medication without the parents and the doctors kind of. But what these people are doing is they're basically removing all protections. And one of the number one protections that children have is their parents. Because the parents are the people that by far care the most about these children and want them to do well. But also they're the ones that have the mental capacity to be able to evaluate the things that are going to be done to them. But by removing that, they're making children completely and totally vulnerable to anyone who wants to take advantage of them. And these doctors and these healthcare professionals are doing an incredible disservice.
Yep.
And it's horrible. So, yeah, this is the stuff that's happening. It's horrifying. It's a trend that is going to get children killed.
Yes, but thankfully there are people standing up against it, such as Tennessee's Republican governor quickly called for an investigation into the clinic, which is raising serious moral, ethical, and legal concerns. He said in a statement,
Serious, yeah.
"We should not allow permanent life-altering decisions that hurt children or policies that suppress religious liberties all for the purpose of financial gain. We have to protect Tennessee children, and this warrants a thorough investigation." Good for him. Other lawmakers added their voices, such as Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Quote, "We are shocked by what we've seen. We would hope that the VUMC would make better decisions. There's nothing healthy about mutilating the bodies of minor children." This is horrible, tweeted former Wisconsin governor and 2016 GOP presidential candidate Scott Walker. And there were, of course, other that commented. One of the most interesting things about all of this is that the website for VanderBilt University Medical Center has been taken down. They removed everything, and thankfully Daily Wire screenshotted and saved and recorded all the videos so they can show what's actually going on. Because the interesting thing about organizations like this and organizations that expose stuff like this, like Project Veritas and Libs of TikTok, when Project Veritas and Libs of TikTok does an expose, immediately the websites and any other public material is taken down. They did the same thing with Boston University Hospital.
It's deleting the evidence.
When something like this happens on the right and they try and do an expose about, say, a pregnancy care center, we're like, great. We know what's happening. Tell us more. We want what's going on in these institutions to be exposed. They know what they're doing is inappropriate. They know that what they're doing is only for their own social gain and monetary gain. And they know the majority of people, thankfully, unfortunately not for long, majority of people still oppose transitioning, and whether that's surgical or hormonal, to children.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that's changing.
Well, there's a there's a joke I heard a while ago. I thought it was really funny. Basically, way back in like this was like the 1950s or something like that. Somebody decided to pull a prank, and they sent out a letter to all to an entire bunch of people, and basically the letter just said two things. It said like all is revealed, flee now.
Mm-hmm.
It was meant to be a prank, just to kind of just to mess with people. What was surprising is that as soon as after sending out this letter, like tons of high-ranking CEOs and important figures and politicians and all this kind of stuff, they suddenly fled the country.
Yep.
And so I was like, you don't do that unless there's guilt going on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on here, where you don't suddenly scrub and remove things from a website unless there's some guilt going on.
Yeah.
Unless you got something to hide. And this hospital is acting incredibly guilty. And of course, the left is coming up with their usual how does the left, whenever you expose something shady,
stochastic terrorism,
evil, and well, they accuse you of being of you're going to get someone
inciting
killed.
violence and hate, and you're going to kill people. There was what was that? Leah Torres. She's an abortionist.
Yeah,
and she tagged the FBI, saying Matt Walsh's dangerous rhetoric is going to kill people. So please remove this and stop him. And it's like
that.
What?
Yeah, it's like that YouTuber. Remember that YouTuber who made that funny video of you want people to die,
Remy
rap song about it. Yeah, Remy. Yeah, he made that kind of like a funny song about it.
People to die.
And it's relevant. That's the fact is, Matt Walsh understands they basically operate from the exact same place. It's all denials. Oh, gaslighting. Oh, you're totally wrong and all that. And then when they can't do that anymore, then they turn around and they try to play victim. Yeah. And they try to cry oh, they're going to hurt us.
They try to appeal to the authorities.
We're the victims here. Victim. They cry and cry. And
anyone who opposes me must be shut down because my feelings got hurt.
And the thing is, it's so predictable now that they knew in advance that they were going to delete everything, so they took precautions. And then secondly, they knew in advance that they're going to come up with a completely and totally made up, sob story of well, we're the victims here, when in reality they're mutilating and harming children. For profit. So yeah, they deserve all the flack that they got.
Oh yeah, they definitely deserve all the flack that they get. But they want to turn children into people like this individual, which is truly, truly demented.
No, nothing to see here, Stephen.
Nothing to see here. Forbes invites biological man trans activist to speak at women's conference. Dylan Mulvaney, a man who began publicly identifying as a female just 191 days ago. It's really short.
Yeah.
And demands others use she, them pronouns when referring to him, was invited to speak at the Forbes Power Women's Summit this year. So, according to this tweet, Dylan Mulvaney speaks about collaboration and authorship at the Forbes Power Women's Summit. Quote, there's a level of trust that needs to come from an older generation. We say we respect you enough to take the reins on this. Dylan now has 7.3 million followers on TikTok, where, quote, she highlights her transgender journey in a series titled Days of Girlhood, which has received over 750 million views in less than 100 days.
Probably not for the right reasons.
Yeah, Mulvaney posted his experience about going to the conference, where he spoke on a panel with two women about his transition journey, as well as the social media to mainstream pipeline. The problem with his appearance is the simple fact that he indeed is a man, not a woman, who presents himself as an over-dramatized parody of a female. And this is one clip from one of his videos from day 66 of Girlhood.
So bad.
Oh, this guy's a freak.
Oh, yeah.
Day 66, being a girl, and today I'm in nature. Trees, I love them. Water, lakes, I love them. Heels, they're my hiking heels. I love them. Okay, come on. Bridges, love them. Coconut water, love it. Not an ad, just love it. Wind turbine, love it. Meadows, love them. I'm scared of getting Lyme disease. Love ya.
Best part of the video. Get what you deserve. Fall over in the
Get
mud.
out of here.
Freak.
The thing is, like, this is the kind of thing that you would see someone like JP would do, like as a satire,
As a joke.
Like as a joke, because here's this person, this man, walking. Like you can see, all he's doing, he's wearing tight little like shorts, but then all he's got is a sports top.
Yep.
Nothing about him screams that he's like a. And then he acts by no means in a way that there's not a woman alive who acts like this.
Love it.
Organically.
Yeah.
Like this guy's acting
It's
more like a
basically
gay
like
man.
someone who's trying to be like a Legally Blonde to the extreme kind of rendition.
No, not even Legally Blonde, because Legally Blonde
Made more sense?
Made more sense. It's actually like a woman who's like a valley girl. This guy's not even a valley girl. This guy's just a very like eccentric gay man. He's talking like a gay man. Like, oh my God, like,
My hiking heels, love them.
My hiking heels, love them. I'm like, that's the way that effeminate men talk. If you ever see really effeminate men, like, that are gay, effeminate gay men, they talk like that. And part of the reason they talk like that is because that's one way that they indicate to the opposite, to other men. I was going to say the opposite sex. To other men that they're gay and that they're basically like that they're a potential prospect. That's part of the reason why they talk like that. But that is not how women talk. Women don't talk like that. They talk normally, and they have like a lower, like higher pitch voice. An Adam's apple voices have developed like that. They talk normally, and they don't like walk around like with their hands up like that, things like that. This guy is a sad. And the sad thing is, you're not allowed to criticize him. You're not even allowed to point out how absurd his behavior. Lest you are going to be absolutely destroyed. This is something that I think should be mentioned more. This is something called soft totalitarianism. Okay, we all know, and this is a concept that's borrowed from the book Rod Dreher, who wrote the book Live Not by Lies. He studied totalitarian governments, and I still want to read this book, but he talked about it in an interview. He basically said there are two types of totalitarianism, and I think most people are aware of the one type, which is hard totalitarianism. That's the one where you say something, you're off to the gulag. You say something, and you're punished harshly and in the hard, like incredibly brutal ways. But the other one is the one that people are less acquainted with, which is soft. And that is the kind where if you do not say the thing you're supposed to say, there are social consequences. And some of them are harsh, some of them. But you're going to lose friendships. You're going to lose opportunities. You're going to be shut out from your work. You're going to face pushback. You're basically shamed or forced to basically comply with what they're saying in order to comply. That's soft totalitarianism. And that's the kind of thing that keeps people like the children, like the kids in that school in Canada, from being able to speak out against what happened with that completely out of line teacher. You can't speak out. Why? Not because you're going to like thrown off to jail as a kid, but because there are consequences to speaking out. And those consequences are soft, and they exist everywhere on every level. Now, we talked before about how human bodies, they're no longer sacred. Okay, they're not sacred anymore. You cannot, you can do whatever you want to a body. You want to take a dead body and hang it up in your yard as a scarecrow, like all the power to you, because it's no longer sacred. But you know what is sacred? These people.
Yep.
These people are considered to be sacred. It's something that's sacred. It's something that is completely out of bounds. You can't touch it. You can't violate it. You can't
You
even
can't
like
talk about it negatively.
You can't talk. It's taboo. These people are sacred,
Mm-hmm.
and they get
And
sacred.
even addressing it, saying that I'm glad that I didn't turn out like that. Such as this story from a few weeks ago from Brittany Aldean. And she has been attacked relentlessly about it. So this is a more recent, actually, this is an older story, but it's relevant today.
Didn't it
So
say
my
September
Barbie.
22nd?
What?
It says September 22nd on top.
No, that's today's date.
Oh.
The article is from the end of August.
Oh, it's
So
not
my
that long ago.
Barbie. Jason Aldean defends wife amid woke attacks over tomboy joke. So country music star Jason Aldean has chimed in on the viral conversation surrounding his wife, saying she was grateful to her parents that they let her tomboy face just be that, a phase. In a social media video showing Brittany Aldean getting ready last week, the fashion designer says that she's loving this girly life. I'd really like to thank my parents for not changing my gender when I went through my tomboy phase. I love this girly life.
Can you put it up?
Let's take me to Instagram. I feel
No.
molested. That's going to get us flagged for...
Oh, the sound?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
So,
Good
her
old Instagram.
post seemingly referenced recent medical and political discussions. While many have praised Aldean's post, others took to Twitter in anger. From Cassidy Pope. You'd think celeb beauty brands would see the positives in including LGBTQ plus people in their messaging. But instead, here we are, hearing someone compare their tomboy face to someone wanting to transition. Real nice. Yeah, because that's exactly what happens.
This person doesn't understand how this works.
They do not understand how children get caught in this.
Because all you need, I mean, like they were saying, like an example, that there's people at the Boston hospital, the one that like scrubbed their website and all, who were saying, and we featured this a while ago, they were saying that children know they're transgender even at 2 years old, even from the
time that they start potty training.
Yes. And what are some of the tip-offs that somebody's transgender? Oh, they don't like girly haircuts.
Standing to pee or something like that.
Yeah, they're standing to pee, something like that. So if you think that they're not like pushing like very vulnerable children into the transgender like pathway, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Because there are literally child predators that we call groomers in schools that are literally making it their mission to not only talk impressionable and easily confused children into believing that they are transgender and telling them these completely made up stories about how it's nothing but sunshine and flowers and lollipops, when in reality, the very thing that they mentioned in that VanderBilt story, the female to male something plasty or like a
phalloplasty?
Phalloplasty. We know that this surgery is
it's horrifyingly dangerous,
and it was featured in the documentary. What is a woman? And that guy basically said like they don't have any the horror story that they're basically playing Frankenstein for money, and these children have no idea what they're getting in. So yeah, this person is basically like just repeating like talking points from leftist things. They're in a cult. It's really what it is. They're in a cult, and so they can't.
I do like this response from Jason. I'm glad that your parents didn't let you undergo gender transition surgery, because then you and I wouldn't have worked out. So in response to these attacks, Brittany explains some parents want to be accepted by society so badly they're willing to make life-altering decisions for their children who aren't old enough to comprehend the consequences of their actions fully. Yep. That is 100% correct. And these hospitals and these institutions are exploiting the parents' desire to be accepted, the child's desire to be accepted, because they know that they can profit off of it. And society, or the kind of leftist establishment society that we have allowed to happen, is encouraging this because they know that if they can drive that wedge between parents and children, if they can say, well, your child needs this support and you're being unwilling. That's one way that they can just say, yep, you're an unfit parent and we're going to take them away from you.
Yeah. I think that one thing that we all have to remember, they're trying to shame you into silence.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to, this is such an insidious thing. They're trying to shame you into saying like, wait, you don't support children being able to find their true selves,
to live their true
you're
selves,
a monster.
to live their truth.
But think about this for a second. They are advocating for like literally like, you know, cutting off healthy body parts of healthy children because of this experiment, the social experiment that they're. It's imagine somebody taking their child, imagine you being a parent and somebody takes your child, takes them to a hospital, and they basically cut off their, telling them like, you know what, it's better, superior, far more superior to be like armless and all that.
You're transabled.
You would be absolutely right in being like, that is horrible, and you'd be upset, and everyone would be right. But this is the gaslighting that they're doing. They're trying to convince you that you're a bad person if you don't support mutilating and actually cutting off their body part. They use euphemism to try to make it sound prettier. But imagine, like, we even saw some of the videos that were shared about VanderBilt had like nice sounding music, but what the people were describing was horrifying.
Yeah.
Right? This is what they do. They try to put a happy, like colorful banner
to
on
make
things
it
that
seem
should
nicer
be
and
horrible.
more socially acceptable than it is.
Yeah. So you're not the bad guy here. You're not in the wrong. You're not wrong for thinking this is horrible what they're doing. And that you're not wrong for thinking that man was going out into the middle of, like, you know, a field and trying and demanding that everyone must speak his reality. He's in the wrong. You know, like if somebody comes up to me and on the street and says, I'm a bunny rabbit, but you have to call me a bunny rabbit. You have to pet my head when I
you have to acknowledge my truth despite what reality and common sense says.
Yeah, because I will say this. I've said it before, but it's very important. There's a humongous difference between somebody changing their name and somebody demanding that you use their pronouns, because names are totally subjective. Stephen could change his name tomorrow to Bob, and that's totally acceptable because a name is completely an arbitrary thing. You can change it if he wants to be called Bob or Billy or, Big Bob, whatever. It's fine. Call him that. But if Stephen is tomorrow asking me to state a reality that is not the same.
Yep.
He's asking me not to be respectful. He's not asking me.
I'm asking you to outright lie.
Yeah. To state a reality, like an actual a statement of reality.
Yeah.
Just like it's wrong for me as a Christian to go around and tell everyone God is good all the time, and if you don't say the same thing, you're horrible and you should go to prison. That's wrong. To force people to do that.
Yeah.
But it's not wrong for a person who's transgender to say, I'm a woman, and you have to use language that basically says that I'm a woman. Otherwise, you should go to prison if you don't comply. It's the same thing. These are the tactics of cults. These are the tactics of users. And these are the tactics of groomers. And I will go beyond that. These people are child predators. Because child predators try, just like if Stephen finds out that some creepy person is talking to his child on the internet, trying to encourage the child to do things secretly without telling his parents, he's going to have a little beatdown with this idiot. But somehow, if this is happening in a school, that's apparently totally acceptable. You see how they're doing this? These are bad people trying to present themselves as good people. They're not. So don't be ashamed. You are not wrong for being against this stuff. and you are not wrong for speaking out on it. Yes, there's consequences because we're slowly transitioning into a soft totalitarian society.
Mm-hmm.
But
that doesn't mean that standing up is the wrong course of action.
Absolutely.
So continue to stand, continue to fight, continue to support truth and reality over fiction and delusion.
There is